What do you think about when you think about Amish? Is it the horse and buggy? The primitive lifestyle? We got to learn through a wonderful Amish lady called Lydia about how they live. We took a bus trip with Jefferson Tours to visit the Indiana Amish. We learned so much on this trip, and I even won bus bingo. Hey guys, today we're in Amish country. We're here in Montgomery, Indiana at an Amish farm. We're going to show you guys around. Our first stop was Wagler's Quilts. This is a little quilt shop where the Amish come to buy their materials and everything they need for sewing. It's also the place where we picked up our Amish guide, Lydia. She was the sweetest lady, and we learned so much from her. After we visited the quilt shop, we got to walk around the property and see their beautiful gardens, the clothes hanging on the line. It was all so interesting and beautiful to see. And yes, they use outhouses because they don't have running water. They use wells. So this is one of the outhouses that we were able to use while we were there. This was a beautiful little quiet seating area where the bus crew could sit and relax. We were free to walk around the property and look around. We got to see the horses that they use to work on the farm and even the horses that they use to pull their buggies. This is a real working farm, and it was so interesting to walk around. These farms are so well kept. The brown building just ahead is one that they use to host their church services when it's their turn to host. They take turns going from farm to farm because there's not a community center big enough to host them all. There were several homes on this property fairly close together. I'm not sure if it was part of the same family, but usually families share property. They had hitching posts to tie their horses, and you can hear the hum of a generator as it powers one of their appliances.
We're just like you. Our dress is just different. Okay, now first thing, if you look out straight ahead here, this is a great big pit right across from here. That's a coal mine. We're headed east, so they're going to go west now, and they are mining across the road. They dug the road out, but we get all their black dust. Okay, ahead of us here comes one of our ways of transportation. It's a little pony on a little buggy. We don't have electricity. We travel with horse and buggy. Want to go somewhere that's very far, we hire someone to take us. But first of all, this community started back in the 1800s. We are approximately have 2,000 some families. Family size is anywhere from 6 children. Some have 8, 10, some have 12, and there's actually a couple families or so that have 16 children. And our children, We teach them German. That's the first language. Then they pick up the English as they grow. Once they're through school, they like to get out and find a little bit of a job, and then they get to have a little bit of pocket money, you know, for themselves. But otherwise, you know, they work for the parents. One teacher has first, second grade, one has third and fourth, and then there's one has the bigger grades, 5 through 8. And you can see their ball diamonds out there, their playground. And so yeah, we have 22 or 23 schools like this. We are right on the edge of the Amish community now. There's no Amish any farther than right here where you can see in this direction.
Our second stop was Knepp's Restaurant and Gift Shop. We didn't eat here because we were going to eat in an Amish home, but we went in the store where you can purchase a lot of homemade Amish goods. We'll show you what we got at the end of the video.
No, it's not. That's a
What do you got?
Chocolate covered cashews, sea salt caramel, we also got to use their flush toilets while we were there. This little place had electricity and running water. The Amish peanut butter is quite a thing in the Amish community, and it's so delicious. Everything that the Amish make is from scratch, and they're also known for their angel food cakes. They were the biggest that I have ever seen in my entire life.
It's called the Red Barn, and they have seeds, they have feed, and livestock feed, and they make furniture here too. And then in the top part of this store, they have material, books, stainless steel. It's just one of our stores. And then they make, this is one of the community buildings, the red shed right there beside it. We have several community buildings now where we have our weddings and funerals at, because you know, so with so many people, we don't have room for everybody. We have a bench wagon. We call it a bench wagon, and our bench wagon goes from place to place. We all take a turn to host the services, and then that gives everybody a chance to serve the food. We always have, after the services, we serve the lunch, and that is homemade bread and peanut butter spread, and then some kind of a jam or jelly, and pickles and red beets. And then we also have a ham and cheese or ham salad, whatever, you know, people decide that they want. And then we have a few different kinds of cookies, like 3 different kinds of cookies or so. These buggies are probably going to Nikki's Auction Center. They're having a sale, a horse sale there this afternoon. So that's, we see several buggies going. We're going to go past Nikki's, so you'll see it.
This is the 3rd largest Amish community in the United States.
To the right is a window. They make windows. They make our windows for the people that do field houses and stuff. Here's Country Health Center. These people here come from Jasper, the doctors. They come from Jasper. They come down here, so people can just drive there with horse and buggy, and we don't have to hurry someone. Now this buggy here ahead of us is a top buggy. This is a closed-in buggy that we can use for, like in the winter time when it's beside the road here. You notice it. That's what they do. They build stuff like that. And then to your right up here is the Gravers Complex. That's where we'll have our quilt auction every year at Labor Day weekend. And this place on our right is fiberglass place. It's culverts, and they make I don't know what all they make with that. A bunch of different things, fence posts, and this is a fence here beside the road, and that's part of it, what they have.
Our next destination is an Amish farm where they have prepared lunch for us in one of those shed buildings that they use for their services. The food was absolutely amazing. Homemade bread with peanut butter spread, meatloaf, chicken, dressing, homemade noodles, carrots, potatoes and gravy, and a salad. And they gave us 3 types of dessert. There was angel food cake, chocolate pie, which kind of turned upside down on my plate, and another type of pie. I think it might have been oatmeal pie. It tasted similar to pecan pie. They told us to take all we want, but eat all we take, because they don't like to waste things. We then got to walk around the farm. This little newborn lamb in the barn was the cutest, and so was this Amish little boy with his bare feet. Watch where you step. All the buggies, some of the covered ones, some of the open ones. And there was a lamb in here. They've got a tractor. This is their barn. As we walked around the property, I was still a little confused about the Amish lifestyle. They don't have electricity, yet they use solar panels and generators for their lights and their appliances. They don't drive gas-powered vehicles or cars, yet they have gas-powered tractors, and they use gas-powered lawnmowers to cut their grass. So that was kind of a bit confusing to me. To me, it seems like the same thing. When I asked Lydia about the tractor, she said they don't use the tractor for farming, but it does have its place. If they have a wagon too big for the horses to pull in the hay, they'll use the tractor. In one way, the Amish life is a simpler life, but in another way, there's just a lot of man-made rules for them to follow. These children just got home from school. They were cousins. Our next stop was the greenhouse. It was also run by an Amish family. These handprints in the concrete were just the cutest. These greenhouses were filled with gorgeous flowers, and they were very reasonably priced. We also got to look around their grounds. Evidently, they used coal for the greenhouses as well as solar panels, and they had storage bins for their water. As I said before, all of these Amish properties that we saw were very well kept.
And once they outgrow the little house, they'll move, we'll switch houses. And that's called the Dottie House. That's our retirement home. And we help our children out until they're all married and out on their own and able to make it. And then when we need help, then the one at home, you know, they'll look about the parents at home.
They don't have insurance of any kind. The youngest child builds a small home beside the parents, and then when the parents get old, that's their Dottie home. They switch homes. She also said that as a community, they pay the medical bills quarterly.
So that's my youngest daughter out in the garden. That's my little granddaughter standing right there. She's watching. That's Olivia.
Oh, there you go.
She'll be 2 in May. And my 5-year-old grandson's out there helping Mommy plant, so.
Lydia's grandchildren were the cutest and so excited to see their grandma. The youngest one still only spoke German. She had not yet learned English. There goes our guide, Lydia. She was the sweetest lady. We learned a lot from her about the Amish lifestyle. Our final stop of the day was Gastoff Amish Village. There was a restaurant there, a bakery, and several gift shops, along with a lot of antique and collectible places. It was a wonderful place to walk around. We needed to walk around after that huge lunch we ate, so we did not eat at this restaurant either. When you walked in, it was a gift shop with all kinds of things that you might want to find at an Amish store. The restaurant itself looked wonderful, and you can't beat Amish cooking. Look at those cookies. All the food that we saw looked wonderful, even though we were too full to eat. Lydia had told us that the difference between Amish and Mennonite is that the Mennonites left the Amish church because they wanted electricity and they wanted to drive cars. So if they took that step, then they were shunned by the Amish community because they stepped away from the church. Like I said, the Amish has a lot of rules and regulations to follow to become part of their church and stay in the faith. A positive thing about the Amish is their whole community. They help one another. Since they don't have insurance, if someone's house burns down, they come and they rebuild the house and get them back on their feet. And they do it all as a community. The same way with their medical bills. She said once a quarter they bring all their medical bills to the elders of their church and then they approve. She said this last quarter it was over $1 million, and then they split that cost through all of the members, and it cost them over $200 for each member of their family to cover the medical bills for the whole community. They really stick to community. This is what we brought home: milk, chocolate, cashews, cinnamon roll, which was to die for, homemade noodles, granola, some of those sea salt caramels, which were delicious, that homemade peanut butter spread. We had such a great time. If you would like to see more of our videos, click the video that just popped up on your screen.